I'll go ahead and call to order this meeting of the Greenfield Conservation Commission at 6:32 p.m. on September 12th, 2023. All commission members are currently present. And excuse me, this meeting is being held virtually, and if any technical interruption occurs and the meeting suddenly ends, it will not be resumed and all items will be automatically continued at the next scheduled meeting date. Also, this meeting is being recorded by the Conservation Commission, and if anyone else is recording, you're required to let me know. Right, so then first on our agenda is approval of meeting minutes, August 22nd, 2023.
I'll motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, a motion to approve was seconded. Any further discussion? It looked like you had a couple comments in there, Kristen.
Yeah, just for clarification, I can't remember what the previous minutes said to summarize the amended order of conditions, but I just, for clarity, just wanted to make sure we're crossing our T's. And these are questions. I
think this was the first one I
assuming
saw.
the no disturb zone was talking about the 25-foot bylaw. No disturb zone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe just add 25-foot in there just to clarify.
Yeah, I can clarify. And then just mention the resource areas, which was it buffer zone and intermittent?
Are you talking about this one?
Oh,
Or
they're
up
talking about
above?
105. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not seeing where do we need to add? It's entirely outside of no disturb zone.
But it is still in jurisdictional resource area. So I guess I just wanted to make sure that it's clear that it's like just under, I don't know how you want to word that.
Yeah.
It's nitpicky.
I mean, we could say that it's still within the local ordinance 200-foot riverfront area. I think it's and within the wetland buffer, 100-foot wetland buffer.
Right. Yeah. That just makes it sound like it's like outside of jurisdiction, but it's kind of not. So I don't know. I didn't really know. I'm not suggesting how to reword it. I just wanted to add some clarification.
Yeah, no, I can clarify.
Okay, and then there was another comment down here. Portions of wetlands are also within one parcel's jurisdictional resource areas.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember. Is it in riverfront? Is it local or state? I don't know. I couldn't remember. So just didn't want to like exclude other resource areas if there are wetlands and also riverfront. I couldn't remember.
I think it's definitely local. I think that it's probably an intermittent stream there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
it's like a tributary to Cherry Run.
Yeah, that stream. I was thinking at the last meeting, I thought Kristen looked it up and saw that it was on a USGS. It was like on the USGS map. So, but I think it's the drainage area is probably small enough that it's technically intermittent. But well, it was flowing when Mitch and I went out there.
We'd cover our bases if we just said jurisdictional resource areas, and we wouldn't have to specify whether it's wetlands or RFA.
That's true.
Yep.
Scapegoat wording.
All right, Mitch, do you want to just change wetlands to jurisdictional resource areas?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay.
As I was looking at that, it seems like Mass Mapper updated their base map, unless it was always like this, to include like DEM elevation stuff, so you can see the stream channel running right through the larger parcel.
That's pretty cool. I also noticed, so if you go, I forget what the website is, it's like topo viewer or something like that. That's where you can see the most quote unquote up to date and current USGS topographic quadrangle. And Mass Mapper is not necessarily the most up to date
Mm,
topographic map. So if you're looking to see whether something is perennial on the most recent USGS topographic quadrangle per the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass Mapper is not always accurate. And I ran into that issue in Washington for a project not that long ago. So it's worthwhile looking at other spatial data that are publicly available.
did anyone have any other comments on the minutes, or should we vote on that? So we're voting on approving the minutes with the edits as given. Erica,
Aye.
Kristen,
Hi.
Fletcher.
I
All right, and I am also an aye. So those minutes from August 22nd, 2023 are approved. So next on the agenda, we have public hearing, notice of intent, bank stabilization at the Green River Swimming Area, map 27, lot 18, DEP file number 168356, continued from August 22nd, 2023.
They are continuing again to the 26th.
So I'll just make a motion to continue the public hearing for notice of intent, bank stabilization, DEP file number 168356 to the September 26th meeting.
second.
All right, that was seconded. So we'll do a roll call vote. Erica,
Aye.
Kristen,
Abstain.
Fletcher.
I
All right, and I'm also an aye. All right, so that has been continued to the 26th. All right, so then under other business and enforcement updates, proposed conservation land on Woodbine Street. Mitch and I went out to the site. Are there yeah, okay. I hadn't looked at the site visit photos. Sorry, I took photos, but I haven't done anything with them. So yeah, we went out there. It's I mean, both of the parcels are just like wooded, like looks like fairly young forest, but there's the stream channel that we were talking about.
So eroded.
And it does kind of I think this might have been a picture of burning bush or something.
Yeah, I went out there this past weekend and definitely a lot of burning bush.
Mhm.
Was the ground like pretty wet when you guys were there throughout the whole parcel?
Um, kind of. Maybe not super wet, but there's some
Sorry,
trash.
I can't
Yeah.
remember. Is this a tributary to Cherry Run Brook?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so.
So there could potentially, in theory, be some potential floodplain restoration if the city ever came into grant money funding or something. Because
Mhm.
isn't Cherry Run Brook really constrained with development
Mhm.
along the floodplain?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes between, what is that, route? Is it Route 2? It goes between that and there's like a little strip mall. There is a part of it where there's like protected wetlands next to it.
Mhm.
but then there is also a part where like beavers build dams all the time, and we always have to give emergency approval to have the beaver dams taken out. I guess we could look at it.
Looks like the headwaters are at Stoneleigh Burnham School.
Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like, and like we talked about last time, it kind of seems like a thing where, there are other parcels kind of around it. Like nothing else is protected, but there are things that could be. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to just like scroll on a map and find it, and I'm coming up short.
Just go to Silver Street and go
Yeah.
slightly north.
Oh yeah. So yeah, like on this map, it shows cherry rum, like you said, coming from Stoneleigh Burnham here. And then the stream that we're talking about is this little one coming down and then joining in there.
Which strangely, the illustration ends at the boundary of Route 2, but you can see above that there's like additional
Oh yeah.
channel.
Oh yeah, it like follows the interstate here.
If that's what that is, I don't know. It looks pretty channelized
Oh no,
up there.
this goes the other way.
Hmm.
Like right here, this goes into Millbrook here. So I think probably originally something else went on here, and then when they built 91, it kind of cut
Oh,
everything
yeah.
off.
Mhm.
So now it kind of starts at these wetlands, I think. It probably gets
So
like
it's like
stormwater runoff from the interstate too, if I had to guess.
So where are we at with this process? Do we need to vote on
Yeah.
anything or?
So Mitch, I saw that you had like the deed, and I don't know what if you had looked at. I think this might be old stuff from the last meeting. I don't know if you had looked into anything else related to
I
this.
think where we're at now is just confirming if we want it, just from the site visit photos, just that we still want it. And then title examination would probably be the next step. So just voting on using money for that.
And do we have any idea like how much, like how to do that and how much it would cost?
Yeah, I mean, I used to get lots of title examinations, and it varies based on who you go to and whatnot. But it could be anywhere for a simple title, like, if the person's feeling generous, like a few $100s, up to like a couple thousand, a few thousand.
Mm.
But I imagine it wouldn't be very much for these. But
Yeah.
we should just talk about sort of like the conservation purposes, because like, for example, the access looked pretty challenging. I don't know about where you guys parked, but I kind of went up the dead end there, and it was just odd, like very, very intimate with the surrounding properties.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we parked on Poplar Street here and then walked.
Right, so if there's no access, that's a public way.
Well, technically this parcel, oops, I can't close it now. This like skinny little one is owned by the city because it was like originally going to be a road. So this whole thing is owned by the city here. So technically there is. And so my thought was like, if this and this were, if we accepted those as like conservation land, then we can leverage that and ask the city to also add in this and this to like connect it all, like, oh, this is they're not going to build a road out there. So they could just transfer that to the Conservation Commission. And then this technically goes to the road. As far as parcels go, it's connected. Then there is like an entrance there onto that property.
Would the commission's interest in this be contingent upon whether the city would donate that kind of right-of-way parcel? Or would that just be gravy?
I guess that's for us to
I
decide.
think
I mean,
it's-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I think it's still worth having just for some of the things we talked about last time, that, if we have that, then we can try and build around it. So even if the town doesn't give us that, we can maybe we can find another way around it. But it doesn't seem like there's any reason why they wouldn't give us that. I mean, it's just kind of sitting there not doing anything. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of it will just come down to sort of if we find any, like I don't think and there's any significant costs associated with it, but that's something to look into. But like we should kind of set up what our expectations for it are. I mean, it doesn't have to have public access,
Mhm.
but we should just kind of establish that ahead of time and then go into it with those purposes in mind. When I was there, it was all everywhere I walked was holding a lot of water, so it didn't.
Mm.
But this was after, and it started raining right as I got there, so it was very saturated. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some route I missed. I didn't quite get to the northern boundary there, but I was a little confused at the community garden suggestion because, again, because
Yeah.
it was so saturated, but and the access. But again, I didn't go from the top, so
And the whole thing is they're just trees on the whole thing. So
yeah,
you'd have
it's
to
got a
cut
very
down trees
right,
to
which doesn't
Right.
seem yeah.
yeah.
The
I
canopy was
think
very dense.
yeah, I think that's something that we would need to talk to the owner about. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like if we are interested in it, but mainly as like, floodplain protection or
Mhm.
whatever, I think we should express that yes, we're interested, but it probably would not be a community garden and may or may not have public access because that might, we should be upfront about that, and that might,
Mhm.
I don't know, change her mind um, or whatever.
I also kind of, I'm sorry, I'm spread a little thin lately. I can't remember if we discussed this or not last time we met. But because this is such a small area, if say, and it's, kind of suburban, let's say there was like dumping out there, is that a liability we could inherit? I mean, if this just turns into kind of like a neighborhood dump, are we holding the bag for that? If there are refrigerators and old computer monitors or whatever out there, is
Yeah,
that
I
a
mean
liability for inheriting?
that goes to for any of our properties, but I could see why you think it might be more prevalent on this one. There was definitely debris throughout to some degree, but I didn't see anything like dense. But you never know what's under the ground.
Mhm.
But yeah, as far as sort of liability goes, I don't. I don't know what the sort of cleanup duties would be at that point, but I imagine it wouldn't fall directly on us. In other words, I think I don't know, might be a town-wide
Yeah,
responsibility.
I guess I was gonna say like you said, it's kind of the same with our other properties, and um, that's kind of just like the responsibility of having conservation land is that we're responsible for maintaining it. So, um,
Yeah, and usually these larger parcels have some sort of periodic inspection and money in escrow to complete that inspection, whether, it's every 5 years or 30 years or whatever. And if this is just such a small parcel that's surrounded on all sides by residential properties,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know.
We could allocate money from our fund, I think, for that purpose, if I'm
think-
remembering right. But speaking of costs, we definitely want to do some boundary marking if we were to, especially if we were to connect the two parcels, because it does kind of abut land that's actively in use. But
I
yeah,
would like to do some boundary marking on some other
I know.
conservation land too. So
Yeah,
we
agreed.
should buy a whole,
De- design a
1,000
little.
pack of boundary markers or something.
Yeah, I have a good vendor for that.
Okay. Yeah. Send that to Mitch so we have that
Okay.
like on file.
Cool.
But yeah, and so I guess my thinking overall is just like, yeah, it's this parcel and this parcel, but like if the city, additionally could throw in that makes it nice. And then this is like church property, and maybe we say, oh, we have this conservation land. Could we help pay for a conservation restriction on this back part of your land so that it's permanently protected, but you still own it?
Yeah. Or
And
would you like
then,
to decrease your tax burden and
yeah,
Right.
and then there's this
Absolutely.
property owner up here. Oh, would you like to decrease your tax burden? And not like it's a land grab or anything, but like,
Right.
it's trying to, preserve some of this floodplain area. It's kind of like a foothold, is kind of,
Would they pay taxes on it if it's a church?
oh,
That's a good
Yeah, probably
question.
not.
true, but yeah, I mean, a lot like the two parcels I visited looked sort of fairly undevelopable. Although again, I didn't go into like the corners necessarily, but yeah, no, I think it'd be great just because of the density of sort of water and wetlands there.
mhm.
Be great to have it guaranteed as a undeveloped parcels in the future.
I think, is this you remember there was like that road that the city, somebody, a
Yeah, it's
person
that.
wanted,
Some-
it's that right
Yeah,
there?
I
I
think
thought it
that's what it
was.
was.
So the city already gave away this little chunk down here to this person.
Right.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So they're definitely not building a road if they gave
Right.
away the end
Right.
of it.
Mhm.
So there's no reason for the city to not have it be conservation land, I guess. So
Yeah, so I think kind of just researching, the cost of the initial diligence and then any ongoing costs, and just
mhm,
getting some ballpark numbers for that. Talking to the owner about
mhm.
possibilities for maybe it not being used for exactly what she wanted, but still being used for conservation purposes, and then maybe
And there
pricing out.
definitely, I think there definitely
Those-
could be public access. Like,
Yeah, no, there could be. I'm just
you
saying
were
the
saying,
day I went there, it was like
yeah,
very
yeah.
not great to walk on, but
Yeah.
any property can get that way, and there may be, sliver of high ground, couple little bog bridges, whatever.
Mhm.
Totally doable, but just have to look at it in different conditions, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a wet summer.
Yeah. Sorry, Kristen, I think you wanted to say something.
No, not at all. I was just thinking in
Oh.
terms of public access, it just seems too small. I don't know. And I feel like that would just invite maybe more dumping. I feel like
Unless you
conservation.
start lumping a lot more stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
that this turns into a mosaic of, contiguous open space habitat. I mean, that would absolutely change the game. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think that this is, obviously undevelopable to the current landowner and its jurisdictional resource areas. So
Yeah.
happy to conserve it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I was good.
but I was just gonna say, I don't feel 100% on the northern parcel being undevelopable. I mean, it looks likely, but it does have some size and sort of moves towards that already developed parcel. So I don't know if between the zoning and the like soils and perk tests and stuff, if it actually could be, but I agree, it seems very unlikely that either of them are.
Yeah, and this
but-
one, the stream goes like right through the middle,
Right down
Mm.
there, yeah.
like right there. So if you were gonna develop, you'd be in like maybe this little corner here.
Right, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so oh, Erica, you were gonna say something.
I was just thinking that if there was some public access to it, because it is so small, if we don't end up with any extra property that we can attach to it, maybe it could be used like specifically for like education, like for like classrooms, maybe even just to because it's such a small area, they could I don't know. And I wonder if that would be something that the owner would, she wants to do something for the community, it sounds like. So if it was
Maybe,
used for education or something.
yeah, that just made me think like maybe just like a short little walkway to like a little place you can stand and like a bird blind, like a little walkway
Yeah,
and
or
then like a
something.
bird blind, and you could just like stand there.
It would be cool if we had a vernal pool, I know there's one up at Highlands, but you know, like an informational kiosk, like you're saying, Travis, but
Hmm.
with a vernal pool, and like you were saying, Erica, that, kind of an outdoor classroom educational opportunity would be really cool.
Mm.
Okay. So it
Good.
sounds like we're good to move forward. Mitch, does that make sense? Maybe like reaching out to find out, like get some quotes on the deed stuff and reaching out to the owner again with kind of what we talked about.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds good. Should we wait
I mean, maybe
still on
go
contacting
ahead.
the abutters there? See if they're interested?
Oh yeah. Um, I would say it's probably going to be a long-term thing if, if other parcels
Hmm.
are, I think maybe the city, if this is moving forward, I think we could talk to the city at the same time because the mayor could, ask city council to give us that land and that could happen at the same time. And then it would become like one contiguous conservation land. But I mean, in my mind, I think it's an easier sell to say like, oh, there's this conservation land, like, would you be willing to, do a conservation restriction or sell us?
Yeah,
See, the other thing is now that Greenfield passed the Community Preservation Act, we can apply to the Community Preservation Committee to receive money to purchase land for conservation purposes. So if someone didn't want to give it to us and they didn't want to do a conservation restriction, but they were open to selling it to us, we could go to the Community Preservation Committee and say, oh, this person will sell us their land for $20,000. Please give us $20,000 and we'll do that. Um, and then the other thing is that with the community preservation stuff, that money can be used to do like habitat restoration stuff, but only on land that was originally purchased with Community Preservation Act money.
Oh,
So we couldn't get money to do that on any other parcel that we currently own. But if we did buy one that way, then we could use it. So it's complicated. Also, one other thing about Community Preservation Act is that at any point we could submit an application to get money for land preservation, and then just bank it in our conservation fund until the time comes that we can use it. So that I think is a harder sell to the Community Preservation Committee, because then it's like, well, we don't know if we'll ever buy any land, but please give us money in case we ever do, you know. But that's another way we can approach that, because then we'd have the money on hand,
Mhm.
to do that. So just letting everyone know. I'll take off my Community Preservation Committee hat now.
It's great information.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to say on this agenda item? Doesn't sound like it. Okay, next on our agenda is outreach to fill Conservation Commission seat vacancy. Has anyone done any outreach?
I emailed Mount Grace and not FERCog, Franklin Land Trust, but I was gonna email FERCog, and then I realized the person I emailed at Mount Grace, their mother works at FERCog, so I just wanted to
Mm,
maybe look for a different contact point at FERCog rather than emailing her, who I was going to. So kind of
mhm,
repetitive in that sense,
mhm.
but yeah. So that I just did that recently, unfortunately. So I don't have a response yet, but
Yeah, and I haven't heard back from anyone that or it, not anyone else since the last meeting. Um, Like I was saying at the beginning of the meeting, or before the meeting tonight, um, I was talking to the people in the community development, community and economic development department, I think is what it's called. And I forgot, I did get a couple of suggestions, which was maybe reaching out to the Recreation Commission, and the what is it, SGIC, the Sustainable Greenfield Implementation Committee, um, in case anyone wants to, be on both those committees and this and this one too. Because then at least they're motivated to they're motivated to put the time in. Extra motivated. So I can reach out to those two committees, but I don't know if anyone else has done anything or if they have any other ideas.
I've talked to a couple commission members, Deerfield, Amherst. I can't remember who else. Nothing's boomeranged back. Trying to remember who I know at FERCog. I feel like FERCog is a good lead.
yeah, I'll reach out. I'll reach out to them tomorrow. I just want to get the right contact there.
Erica, have you been out there passing out flyers or anything?
Right now I'm in Florida, so no.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't do us much good.
Plus, you got to convince them to move to Greenfield, and then
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
true. Yeah.
tell them it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity. They can move to Greenfield, be on the Conservation Commission, and not get paid for
Yeah.
it.
less hurricanes,
Yeah.
way less sharks.
Anyway, I'll ask around.
I feel like I'm running out of ideas.
And I just don't have the kind of like context that everybody else kind of has working in the field, and so I don't,
Yeah.
know who. I can't think of anybody that I know personally, and
And I work so far from home that no one I work with lives around here. So
hmm Well, and that's what I'm kind of thinking about the fur clog. It seems like, I don't know. I mean, I know a couple people, but it seems like everybody kind of comes in to the fur clog. I mean, they live out somewhere else, but
But the FERCog does talk to a lot of local
right, they
local
might have some
folks
ideas.
in their outreach. Yeah. If we
Yeah.
can, it may be even like worth reaching out the first time and then like following up a couple times later because they have so many people going out to community meetings of all types related to conservation and planning that,
Yeah.
That's
you
true.
know,
Yeah.
they could just, if it's on the person's mind, they might just see someone there and say, oh, by the way, and that does it, you know?
What about Franklin Land Trust?
Yeah, I reached out to them.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Antioch? I know we talked about GCC. Antioch's a little further, but
Couldn't hurt.
maybe there's like a
People,
retired
people,
professor.
hmm
yeah. Hmm.
And we just have, we have Mac stuff still active and all that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's also the concept of like, um, as opposed to organizations like, you know, conferences or whatever, like open space conference and
Mm.
um, the Massachusetts land, whatever that one's called at in Worcester there. Those could be good spots. I think that's where I
Already on the MACC and the AMWS job boards, correct?
I don't think it's on the job board. I don't. Do they put like commission
Oh
members
yeah, it's
on
not
the
a
job
paid
board?
job. Yeah, you're right. It's not a paid job.
Mhm.
Never mind.
Yeah. Conservation agent would go on there. But
Yeah. Um, yeah, that you're right. That doesn't
yeah.
make sense.
Yeah, and it's hard with like the conferences and stuff like you were saying, Fletcher, because like they have to live in Greenfield too. So
Right.
or
right, yeah,
maybe they know people that do. I don't know.
yeah, it's true.
I wish I knew a professor at GCC, who taught, upper level environmental class or something.
Yeah. And
Or
I reached out to the one person who is like the contact person for like the environmental degree or whatever. But
hmm
I haven't heard anything back. So I don't know. Maybe I should send a follow up because that was before school started in the fall. So maybe it kind of got buried in summer email junk.
I'll reach out to
Is
Scott
it,
Jackson too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Paul Catanzaro has lots of connections. I don't know if I could do that one if other people don't know him, but
I don't know.
all right, I'll do that.
I took some classes at GCC, but that was with Brian Adams and he's gone. So, and he
Is
lives in
he?
Northampton.
Oh,
Huh?
I was gonna say, is he like gone like to heaven or gone
No,
like?
no, 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 no. Well, I don't know, but I don't think so. But I just think he
Yeah.
retired and now, but he doesn't live here. So
Retired would be great, honestly. But yeah,
if
not living here is not great.
yeah, we could convince him to move here, but
With our generous benefits package.
For the low, low cost of nothing, you
Yeah.
right.
too can join the Greenfield Concom.
Hmm.
I don't think it can hurt to be persistent because you know, we're not. I don't think it's gonna put anybody off to us, and we're not looking to make friends. We're looking to get members.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm. Um, okay. I mean, it sounds like we have we have some plans for reaching out to some people. Anyone have anything else on that agenda item before we move on? Okay, next on the agenda is any topics not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the posting of this agenda. That just reminded me that I saw an email today about the MACC conference coming up. And I didn't know if anyone was planning on going to that because we, like the Conservation Commission can reimburse you for the registration for that. And I was trying to remember where it was.
I usually go to the one in February that's at Holy Cross, but I never go to the fall one.
One's in Devon's.
Is
Near
it going to be
Leominster.
both virtually and in person?
The email said, it says join us in person. But I think, there are 4 hybrid workshops available during the conference. So I guess there are 4 hybrid things, and then the other stuff is in person. Hold on, I'll share this.
Probably not. I've been checking my email very much down here.
Yeah, so it says the 4 virtual offerings, understand and utilizing the new Public Lands Preservation Act, growing solar, protecting nature, siting solar while minimizing impacts to forests, farmlands, and wetlands, crash course on the Wetland Protection Act regulations, and stormwater management systems, importance of groundwater hydrology, stormwater management.
Can you remind us how we go about getting reimbursed though? Because I think last year or maybe it was 2 years ago, I can't remember. I think I ended up just going through my company and not capitalizing on the free waiver. But how would we, if we wanted to attend, say MACC at any point, is there a piece of paper we fill out that needs to be signed by somebody or approved by somebody, or how long in advance prior to the conference does it need to be submitted, and what do we do?
I'll double check, but I think you just pay for it, and then there's a form, and then you fill it out and send that to me, and then you'll get reimbursed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what I've done. That's what I've done in the past is just pay for it and then send the receipt to
Yeah, I think they
whoever,
send you a
whoever
check.
was there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I haven't decided if I'm going or not, but I might. I haven't been to one in a while now, I guess. So.
Yeah, I haven't been since like before COVID, so.
Well, now that Mark Stinson is back at DEP Western Region, maybe he'll start doing those virtual happy hour things. It's just like a regulatory little informal session. I don't know. It's in his newsletters. If you guys get his newsletters, those were
I don't
great.
get those.
You don't get those? Oh, his newsletters are the best. They're so great. You just got to send him an email and ask him to be on it. It's like a little circuit rider. I think he only does them like 4 times a year or something, but he does these occasional virtual happy hour regulatory discussions that are really informal, and they're great. It's whether it's on, agricultural exemptions or redevelopment in riverfront or whatever. And it's just people just sharing case studies, asking questions, and it's really informal. And it's like after 5 o'clock, so you can have a beer or whatever. And it's just, they're wonderful. And it's also a great place to kind of meet your colleagues and other people interested in the same things. So
Yeah.
in fact, maybe Mark knows somebody in Greenfield.
Yeah.
All right. Mitch, are there any enforcement updates or project monitoring, site visit scheduling?
No updates.
Okay. Oh, I
Oh,
think
just
there
that
was the
15
New
Greenfield.
England.
The parking lot, 15 Greenfield, just sent us the revised NOI that was required in our conditions. So just a quick update on that.
Okay. And then I think there was a power company thing in your email.
Right. Yeah. Just letting us know that they're doing some exempt work.
I guess we should look at that. Let me
We can pull that up.
open that up. Yeah. Utility notification letter. This was National Grid, August 31st. Submitting this written notification to inform you that necessary utility maintenance activities to replace a damaged pole. Greenfield. It's located within existing right of way on the southeast side of Green River Road. Please refer to the map. Located out. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was jumping ahead.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
located outside 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. However, the existing off right-of-way access road from Green River Road will require spanning an unnamed intermittent stream. Is this the same? Is this wasn't there? Didn't we have one of these before that sounded the same as this?
I think it might just be similar.
Yeah, there's probably just a lot of similar things.
I was gonna ask is 310 CMR 10.02 whatever for minor buffer zone activity? Does anyone know that off the top of their head? Yeah, that right there. 2A2, is that for minor buffer zone activity? And do we have like an OMP or do we need an OMP or are they just, oh, I don't remember the exemptions. God.
I think ongoing maintenance of utility facilities is exempt. But
Yeah, I think 1002 is exemptions, but I don't know what 2A2 is exactly.
Here.
Look it up though. To a two. Activities conducted to maintain, repair, or replace, but not substantially change or enlarge an existing and lawfully located structure or facility used in the service of the public and used to provide electric, gas, water, sewer, telephone, telegraph, and other communication services, provided said work utilizes the best practical measures to avoid or minimize impacts to wetland resource areas outside the footprint of said structure or facility.
So if they're
Yeah.
expanding it, then that would be different.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just replacing a pole though.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do we have any opportunity to weigh in on erosion controls or if it's exempt, it's exempt? And that's just a courtesy.
Yeah, I think it's just a courtesy.
Mhm.
I mean, we could
I guess I'm specifically thinking of a dewatering plan. If they had to dewater, that we would want to see some kind of dewatering plan for the record versus just, straw wattles or whatever. If they're going underground and those poles go deep, I'm sure they're going to have to dewater. But exempt is exempt. Oh,
Yeah, it just
10.1
says
A1 is minor.
the procedures are discussed in National Grid's environmental guidance for right-of-way access maintenance and construction best management practices. And then it just says that, they're going to use erosion control and the matting. It doesn't say anything about like the actual work itself in there. I guess because the work itself is not in a jurisdictional area, it's only the crossing to get to the work area. So I don't think we can say anything about their work area. It's just about
Oh, okay.
crossing a wetland to get there.
And they're gonna use swamp mats, so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I think that's it then. Anyone have anything else for this pretty short meeting?
I was looking at the list of open projects, and it looks like there's like a couple that the order of conditions are expiring soon. Have we heard anything? Are they asking you for any extensions or
Yeah, let me pull those up.
anything?
I would say if we haven't heard anything, maybe it'd be good to reach out to them and remind them that those are
No,
expiring.
yeah, I've kept an eye on those and I've
Okay.
been contacting them. Yeah, 1417 Bernardston Road. They're aware that they're working on it. They might be able to finish and they might, if not, they'll extend.
Okay.
And then 195 Millbrook, I think they are done. They're just working on the monitoring report at the end of the growing season. So they gotta wait for that to do the COC.
Mhm. Okay.
I just want to throw out, just to keep it on top of mind, we kind of touched on it recently, but the piece of land above the police station,
Oh yeah.
just to sort of start preparing ourselves to kind of make another push to
Yeah,
motivate the powers that be to get in gear on that, because um, it seems like they've had time to establish whether or not it's really significant to the improvement projects, and if not, I don't know what else is holding them back.
Yeah,
agreed.
so Mitch did reach out to them, and Mitch and I got an email back from the mayor, and she said, "There's no updated news on this. The water issues at the police department are ongoing, but they are being worked on at this time. I do not have any new information on when that work will be completed and how the water issue will be rectified. Best regards, Mayor."
I think it's good to just stay on
Best
top of it
regards.
because
Yeah.
I honestly don't understand how a year and a half can go by with this, priority issue of mold and drainage problems at the police station.
I
And this
think,
conservation
yeah,
parcel that is like not, I mean, physically abutting the police station, but it's
right.
topographically
Right.
so much higher. So I just,
I wonder if we know any conservation friendly engineers, like civil engineers, who would be willing to give maybe an informal opinion on how this parcel could be at all involved in this work, and maybe use that in a letter to request. Because if we just say, we don't get it, what's the? Can you explain more as to why this might be involved? We're going to get back. Well, we're investigating it or whatever. If we get back with, we've talked to someone with years of experience in the field, and they don't see how this could possibly be significant to the repairs in question, that might be a little more motivating. I'll try to think of people, but
Yeah, and another relevant point is that there's a mayoral election in November, so
Mhm.
Right.
the current mayor may or may not be the mayor after that, and I mean that's only a couple months away. So
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it doesn't go into effect until next year or whatever, but um, so I don't know how that would change things, or but
I think it's good that we're just pleasantly reminding the issuing authorities that we have not forgotten about that issue and we still care about that
Mhm.
issue. We're still
Definitely.
pursuing that issue.
yeah, and my thought is like, you know, I don't think that land is going to be useful at all in fixing those water issues
Yeah,
at the police
I never
station.
understood that.
Yeah.
And I think like once that project is being done, I think that will be very apparent. So I had reached out before, and I don't know, it sounded like it was just complicated with like they had an engineer there to look at it, but then they're like, oh, you need this other kind of engineer. And so then they were trying to figure out who they were going to get for something else. And then there was another project going on at the police station at the same time that was a different project. And so I think it's just been like, I mean, I think that part, like, I don't think that has anything to do with, the Stone Ridge Lane parcel. Like, I don't think they're
Yeah.
slow walking the fix but I think it's just been one of those things that's been unusually complicated to to get that project going for some reason. I don't know. That's what it sounded like to me. But yeah, I definitely think it's good to, not forget about it and stay on top of it. I mean, the good thing is like the city owns it. So and also the city owns it, and I believe the mayor would have to go to city council to ask to be able to sell it. So, I'm just thinking like what the alternative is if it doesn't become conservation land. It either becomes conservation land or the city just keeps it
I
as
think
this
it's just a
ambiguous
limbo.
ambiguous city land like it is right now, or you know, I don't know why they would, but they could try to sell it again. But it seems not worth it, I think.
It's probably good to keep like a sort of a paper trail, so if there is a new mayor,
Yeah,
we can sort of
Mhm.
show that we have been actively pursuing this and,
Yeah.
you know, very
I
interested.
second that. It's a hallmark of our community. I mean, it's literally the symbol. If you Google Greenfield, Massachusetts, it's the ridge. It's
Yeah, there is, yeah.
um I think that it's a pretty important piece of conservation land. I'd hate to see it sold.
Mm.
I mean, the only person I could even imagine them selling it to is the person who bought the house because there's no access to it or anything, like
Right, right.
uh that's the only person who could even conceivably want it, I think. So it's probably not going to get sold, but I definitely think it would be better if it was preserved as conservation land.
Mhm.
I mean, if we really want to talk about it, there's land if like kind of like behind Stop and Shop and then like north of there that the city just owns these like random parcels up there too, and like it's just like forested land. Like that could be conservation land too, but
Yeah.
I agree. And there are so many rare plants up there and cultural resource area and hiking and public access opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah, nice area.
Never mind the giant chunk of land down by Cheapside. That's just a de facto part of the Highland Park.
Mm,
That was
Mm.
already attempted. They attempted to auction that off a few years ago
Hmm.
and failed. And but that, that's like a significant part of the park.
great point.
Anyway, I think at one of the, I think it might have been at the last MACC conference or something I went to. They were talking about how land preservation, it's the long game, things happen very slowly, but once something is preserved, then it's preserved. It's just things take a really long time to
Yeah,
happen.
unless
So
until they happen suddenly, like the auction for this
yeah,
Right,
parcel.
right.
yeah. Well, that wasn't necessarily land preservation. That was
Yeah.
land selling.
Hasn't happened
Right.
yet. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we're right at an hour right now, so that seems like a good time to
Make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Is that an actual motion?
Yep.
Second it. Okay.
All right, motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All right, that's all of us. So we are adjourned at 7:33 p.m.